All right, folks, the message today is super simple. Who you want to become is far more important than what you want to do. Better yet, how you want to live is far more important than what you want to do. So many of us go through life asking the question, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? And not enough of us are stopping to ask, how do I want to live? Who do I want to become? How do I want to be remembered? I like to do something called the funeral test. I do this. I try to check in with myself on this at least once a week, once a month if I'm not really on top of my game. But every time that I'm working with somebody new or a new client, at some point during the program, I'm making sure I'm asking them, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? Because that one question brings so much clarity to the rest of your life. You start to think about, wow, how do I actually want to be remembered? And it forces you to think bigger than just your career, just like what you do to earn a paycheck, right? Now, my goal for anybody I work with, my ultimate goal for myself and anybody I work with, and as many people as I can reach or come into contact with, is to have the perfect blend or the perfect balance between work and play, between what you do for a living is as close as possible to ultimately how you want to live your life. That's why we all look up to athletes or, professional athletes or entertainers, right? You take it, I don't know why Beyonce's on my mind right now, but you take the example of Beyonce. She loves to sing, dance, act, perform, entertain. And she gets paid big bucks to do that. Actors get paid. We all look up to people who are creative, like artists. But there's a million other things that you can do where you can just be yourself and get paid to do it. I like helping people. I enjoy helping people, right? Me being myself, me sharing my story, me being able to connect on a deep level with someone and tap into their story and help guide them is one of my gifts. And I enjoy doing it. And because I continue to stick with that and continue helping people and continue getting people results, I get compensated for it. Now, I've only been at this for a few years, really officially 2 years. And even more officially than that, I'd say like 18 months of really going hard, taking it seriously, actually treating myself and treating what I'm doing, like it's a full-time job and really taking it seriously. And because of that, I'm seeing results from it. Back to this topic of who you want to become is more important than what you want to do, though. A while ago, I was on Joy Walker's podcast, and we had a conversation about how athletes are constantly scrambling. This is Joy Walker's Sets for Life podcast. I try to, drop that in there as much as possible because she has such a dope podcast, and I'm a huge fan of what she does. But when I was on there, and her and I had a discussion, and we talked about how a lot of former athletes, once they leave their sport, they're scrambling to figure out what they want to do next. It's almost like you're latching on to the first thing you can find just so you can try to be great at it. Let's say you were like exceptional at your sport in college or in the pros, and now you're trying to latch on to something else that you can attach your identity to be great at. And a lot of us do it with the first thing. It's like once you get out of college, you're almost like, okay, I got to get a job just so I can say I'm earning a paycheck and I have some sort of role, right? And I understand that, but it's important to always keep looking and keep your head up. Because what Joy and I were talking about was her and I and many other athletes scramble. Like, okay, I'm not playing my sport anymore. I got to get something. Okay, so I got this little sales job and I'm selling copy machines or whatever. That's what I did fresh out of college. I sold copy machines. Really exciting, right? But a lot of people attach to that job and be like, I'm going to be the best at this. I'm going to try to not that you shouldn't put your best foot forward and put in work and do the best that you can while you're at the job. But the point is to not get stuck somewhere without actually spending time thinking about what you really want to do. I had that job selling copy machines about 7 years ago when I first got out of college. If I had never picked my head up to start thinking about what I actually want to do and try other things and get a clear picture for what ultimately led me here to working with athletes and being a coach or a former athlete coach, career coach, transition coach, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what to call myself. I help former athletes, okay? But my point is, if I had never picked my head up 7 years ago, I could very easily still be selling copy machines. If you fast forward 7 years, I will be like a manager or like a regional vice president or something of copy machine sales. And I would probably be miserable. Money would be great, sure, but I would probably be absolutely miserable because that's something I have no interest in. But because I kept asking myself the questions of how I want to live and who I want to become, it led me to a place where I can be myself. I can do things that I enjoy. I can work from anywhere. You don't know where I'm at right now. It doesn't even matter. It's none of your business. But the point is, I can do my job. I can run my business. I can help people from anywhere in the world by being myself. So we really got to drop this shortcut mentality. And what I mean by shortcut mentality is we want the results so quick. I know this applies to more than just athletes, but I'm talking specifically to athletes right now because a lot of us want the results so quick. Meaning, like, it took, a lot of us, we started playing when we were kids. So it might have taken 10 plus years for you to get a scholarship, 10, 15 years for you to get a professional contract. And then we get out into the professional world or the business world and we think, in 6 months we're going to be CEO of a company or we're going to be like, the best in our industry. And that's just not how things work. The important thing is to pick the right thing, apply yourself to it, keep putting the work in, and watch the results come from that. An example of the shortcut mentality would be like, you see it all the time. People are just riding the wave or whatever else is trendy. Like, 1 minute you see someone is a, real estate investor or, a Bitcoin investor. And then, 2 months from then they're like starting a CBD company or, they're trying to promote a CBD brand. So it's important to not try to like ride what's trending because you're not really going to put in work at that. You even see it in my industry, right? Like former athletes, the whole conversation around mental health and former athletes struggling to transition out into life after sports is like a trending topic right now. And you see a lot of people, they come and go. They pop up and they're working with former athletes, but then, they're working, now they do CBD and now they're like over here doing real estate. They're just trying to jump from thing to thing to try to like get rich quick. And what those people fail to realize is that it's virtually impossible to get rich quick unless you win the lotto. Anybody who is successful has put in sick, ungodly amount of work into whatever it is that they're doing to bring their dream to fruition, to climb whatever the ladder they're climbing or to build whatever business they're building or to bring whatever project they're trying to put into motion to bring that to fruition. They've put in a bunch of work because they cared about it. They were passionate about it. They were being true to themselves and they really wanted to see that change happen in the world. So they were willing to make the sacrifices, the necessary sacrifices. And sacrifices are going to be different for different people. Some people are willing to sacrifice sleep, time, energy, relationships, time spent with friends. Like I cannot sacrifice sleep. I'm not someone who can work like a 4-hour night to build my business. I make sure I get my 8 hours, but sacrificing like family time, time with friends, time in a relationship, sacrificing like downtime. I don't spend a lot of time watching TV. I don't go to a lot of events. I don't really spend time entertaining myself. I'm always educating myself and learning and growing and working on something. So think long term, something that you can do that just seeing it happen is the reward because chances are you're not going to really see any financial gain from it right away. So you might as well be doing something that you say to yourself, it's cliche to be like, find something you would do for free. I agree with that to a certain extent, but I think I like to change that to be like, okay, find something you can do on the side. Maybe you have a job that brings you income and on the side you're doing something that brings you something, a little something. So I like to say, find something that you wouldn't mind being broke at for a while. Because as you'd imagine with my business working with former athletes, before I had dozens of clients, I had 0 clients. So just think about that. And that's with anything, right? With any new business you start, with any new venture you start, with any new job you start, before you have X amount of clients or X amount of customers or X amount of dollars, you start with 0. Everybody starts at 0 and you have to be comfortable starting at 0 and you have to be comfortable staying at 0 for a while. And then you have to be comfortable having a little bit of money coming in to where it's just okay, but it's not enough to sustain you full time. So yeah, I went a few different directions in this video or in this podcast as usual. This is nothing new. If you've been listening to me or watching my videos long enough, by now I'm all over the place. But I just try to throw as much stuff out there as possible, hoping it would stick. So I hope something that I said today resonated with you, and I hope that you start thinking more long term, more so about legacy, about what you actually want to do, thinking less about what you want to do and more about how you want to live and how you want to be remembered. All right. I love you guys. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave your boy a rating or review. Show me some love. Share this with the former athlete. Share this with anybody. Share this with somebody who's just lost right now and is like, focused on money and not enough on what people are going to say about them at their funeral. All right. I love you guys. Peace.